So the Marvels had officially had the worst box office result in an opening day in Marvel history. And suddenly the blaming is coming out and the politics are coming out and all these producers are making their tweets, all making their posts and all such, and there's also Rotten Tomatoes trying to lie about the audience's reaction. And I already know the answer. It's got nothing to do with any of that stuff. What's really going on, the reason why the Marvels didn't become as popular as it is, I have not seen it, so I don't really know if it's good or bad. I mean, for all I know, it could be a really good movie, but from what I'm hearing, it's a really bad movie, but those are other people's opinions. The problem is right now is that there's just no more audience. The audience is done. They're gone. They moved on. They moved on to other things. They want to see other things. And all these directors and producers and owners of Marvel, all they're doing is holding on to something that should have been dead a long time ago. You can blame anybody for failure or for bad things to happen to you. You can always point the finger and all such. But eventually you got to accept reality and move on. I mean, it doesn't really sound like fun, and it doesn't feel and it just feels cruel, but the thing is, life is cruel. Age is cruel. Life is a whole lot of fun when you're around, but eventually life ends. And when life ends, there's no coming back. That's it. That's where the curtains close and all such. And for a lot of movie franchises, that used to be the case. I mean, when it came to the original Star Wars movies, that ended until they brought that back. With the original Lord of the Rings movies, that ended. And then they brought that back in a terrible TV show. All I'm seeing right now is that you're grasping on something that used to be popular in hopes to get that popularity back. You're not going to get that back. It's the same thing that happened with The Walking Dead. There was actually a time back when I was in high school where The Walking Dead ruled the world. I mean, it was the biggest show that everybody was watching. If you were back in 2013, there would be two shows that you'd be watching: The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. But eventually, The Walking Dead hit its peak, and it just continued on with so many bad seasons. And even though the final seasons were pretty good, the entire audience said, I can't do this anymore. They just officially gave up. It doesn't matter even if you do make a really good movie in the future. At this point, it would be too little, too late, because the audience has already had their story. They've already moved on. And that's what's going on with Marvel right now. I mean, I remember when the Marvel movies came out, and it was definitely a step up of something we have not seen before. I mean, we've read about it in the comic books where all the heroes come together, but it was never put on screen. And with the first few movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe being put out there, they were giving us hints and details in all of them that this wasn't just going to be your average superhero movie that comes out every so years. No, this is going to be a universe. They're going to come together, they're going to fight as a team, and you're going to see something amazing. And with all these main characters coming together, that's a very big risk. They took that risk. It was an exciting risk, and everyone absolutely loved it. But even then, we've had our team from the beginning, and when Endgame came around, which became the biggest movie that ever existed in theaters. Seriously, if you did not go to Endgame when it came out, then you're basically not even a living human being. But for a lot of people, that was the end. That was their closure. This has been a build-up all the way to this point, and that was their closure. Thanos has been defeated. That was the ending. But for some reason, they didn't end it there. They just continued on with it, with more TV shows, more movies, and a whole lot of stuff. And you can gradually see the audience just disappearing. I mean, I'm not saying the audience is completely gone. There will always be those die-hard Marvel movie fans out there that'll watch them to the very end. But then again, The Walking Dead itself also had their die-hard fans as well that watched it all the way to the end. But there's a difference between the audience that you used to have and to the audience you have now. Can your audience right now really give you the box office results that you want? Apparently you don't. Because, like I said, they're done. They want to move on to other things. And this isn't just, a one-time thing that happens. No, this has been happening for thousands of years. And even though movies have not been around for thousands of years, but I'll give an example. Alexander the Great wanted to reach the eastern coast of India, but his army said, "No, we're done. We quit." I mean, yeah, he got mad and he complained about it and called them all cowards, but eventually he took up his pride and said, "Okay, let's go home." At least he knew when to quit. These producers and these directors and these filmmakers out there, especially the owners of Marvel, don't exactly know when to hit the quit button. And eventually, and I know this for a fact because I've actually seen episodes of the final season of The Walking Dead, so I know that things can get better, but the audience is not coming back. The audience, it's just, they've had their movie, they've jumped on the lifeboat, they're out. There has to be a moment in storytelling where there is the end. I mean, after Endgame, it should have been like fan fictions writing all over the internet, or even people buying comic books just to see these superheroes go on other adventures. That should have been the end. But they don't want to end it. Instead, they're grasping on this franchise in hopes to get the big bang that they used to have. The only movie that I know so far that was actually pretty good was Spider-Man No Way Home, but that's only because they brought back the original Spider-Man. But even that was not enough to keep the audience. As I said, guys, the audience has left. They left the room. They're not on board this train anymore. And Marvel needs to accept that fact and finally close the book on this chapter, and maybe in the future, restart another chapter. Do something new. Do something exciting. That's my advice to you if you want to save your company. Because right now, and I know this to be true, with people seeing more Marvel movies and more TV shows coming out, they're not getting excited anymore. All they're doing is just complaining about it because it just refuses to end. And people are not going to remember how much of a big of a hit it was because they will see it as the movies and TV shows that are coming out right now. That's the problem when you continue on with the franchise. All I'm saying, guys, is that even though the Marvels came out and it had a very bad result, nobody else is to blame. The audience is just, they left the building. They're not here anymore. And Marvel's going to have to figure that out, or they're going to have to file for bankruptcy. Because I doubt that you can really make box office results if you continue making movies that cost $300 million to make. But anyway, those are my thoughts on what's going on in Hollywood news or even Marvel news. And if you guys have anything to bring up, comment them down below. Also, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you in the next video.